15-time world champion, Demetrious Johnson. You're listening to the MIGHTYcast.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the very first episode of MIGHTYcast. Now, I want to start off first. This was supposed to be the introduction of the GoCast, but me and my good friend Henry, we have things going on. Obviously, Henry, his beautiful wife, is pregnant, and our schedules are just not working right now. But do not worry. Hopefully, in the future, we can bring a GoCast. So now you got my black ass. You also have my producer, Michael Wandover. If you hear a voice, that's him tuning into the show. You won't see his face because his studio is not set up yet, but he's very talented, and without him, this would not be possible. So, ladies and gentlemen, we just had a banger fight yesterday. Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Aljamain Sterling, the Funk Master. We all know the results. Sugar Sean O'Malley is now the bantamweight champion of the world in the UFC. Now, let's recap this fight. If you guys can check out the analysis, go back and watch it. We broke it down live, and you guys see my live reaction. Man, after sleeping and thinking about what happened, it was almost picture perfect for Sugar, right? I mean, he came to the Ultimate Fighter, it wasn't an Ultimate Fighter, apologize, Dana White Contender Series, won that, hat Snoop Dogg, calling his fights with Uriah Faber, and he says, "Welcome to the Sugar Show." Didn't know I was part of the Sugar Show, or I was watching it, but I guess we were all part of that Sugar Show. And to see what he did to Aljamain Sterling last night, where he caught him overextended and landed that right hand. I mean, y'all saw my reaction. I was like, holy shit, he landed that. I mean, and I didn't think that Aljo was going to overextend like that. The first round, he was very patient, super patient. He was actually backing up, almost trying to lure Sugar in. But he was able to find a channel, which he said he was going to be able to do. So that fight was pretty impressive. I didn't know it was going to go down like that. I had Aljamain Sterling winning the fight before going into the fight. The reason why is because Sugar Sean O'Malley has been taken down by Peter Yan. He got taken down by Chito Vera. And I thought that Aljamain Sterling was going to be able to get him down to the ground, pass his guard, and backpack him, which he's been doing for the last. And he also got down Hiro Cejudo. So I thought that Funk Master was going to be able to do that. But Sugar was so slick on his feet, using a lateral movement, back and forth, left and right. Couldn't really give Aljo a beat to where he get his hands on him. And that's when the knockout came in the second round. Once Funk Master overextended and showed more urgency to get to him. Now you guys probably thinking, why did he show urgency to get to him? When you're in a fight with somebody, they call it the feeling out process. You're in there, you're moving, you use your footwork, you move left and right, you're throwing your jab, you're testing the range. Sugar was throwing that lead kick, that teep kick to keep him at bay, just to find his range. The more a striker can get in there with you and feel your rhythm, your timing, your distance, your aura, your key, whatever you want to call it, it's just a matter of time that he's going to knock you out. Point blank. That's what it is. And that's why I felt maybe Aljo had the urgency to get to him very fast in the second round. Now, a lot of people were talking about, Michael, did you hear what they said in the first round? Like after Aljo went back to the corner? Like everybody, I was reading the comments, they're like, dude, Aljo's corner failed him. They failed him that first round. I don't know exactly what was said. Do you know?
Yeah, from what I remember, it sounds like they were encouraging him that he won the first round and that everything he did was like, okay, yeah, you're doing right by the game plan. I could be somewhat making this up, but from my memory, Aljo, he was standing up and he went up to his corner and he asked them.
Close round, what do you think?
Well, yeah, close round.
I
think he won it at the end.
And yeah, because you usually don't see that. Like he asked them, like, hey, what'd you think about that round? So I was a little surprised because from what I saw in that first round, it was like, oh, O'Malley's like not really letting Aljo get close to him for the takedown. Like I don't know if you felt the same way, but I was encouraged for O'Malley after that first, even though he probably lost it on the scorecards.
Yeah, I think the first round, I didn't give it to anybody. I felt like it was pretty even. I love how everybody says, I think it's stupid that there has to be a must 10-9 point system. It's like somebody has to win their round and somebody has to lose. But there could be draws. Why not say, hey, you guys both didn't do nothing that was significant, so it's going to be 10-10 or 9-9. Like, why does it have to be one person wins? And it's kind of interesting to think, and what you're saying, what you're saying is true of Aljo coming back and his corner say, oh, you won that round, you won that round. Then why would he switch it up the second round? Why did he want to get in such an urgency to get to him? You know what I mean? Like, if everything was going good the first round, he's being patient, he was slowly getting to him. Why show such urgency? Because I felt there was an urgency. Like, it felt like he switched a different gear. Not super fast, but he went right on him at the second round. Got right in his face and caused himself to overextend and get knocked out. So... But overall, I think it was good. I think it's very, very good for the bantamweight division. Either way, if Funkmaster would have won or Aljamain Sterling or Sugar Sean O'Malley won. But now with Sugar winning, you have rematches. You have the Peter Yan rematch, which a lot of people think Peter Yan won that fight. You have Cody Sandhagen. That's a fresh matchup. That's fresh blood. You have Merab, which is... I think Merab is going to push the pace. He's going to get on him like right on rice. He's not going to play that game. And I think Merab has a better gas tank than Aljamain Sterling. Then you also have Chito Vera, which he is the only person to ever defeat Sugar Sean O'Malley. And I think with Sugar calling him out, saying we can do this in December, it's very smart of him. Reason why I think it's smart of him is that Chito won that night. So everybody in the world who watched that card knows Chito Vera won, right? And then you have Sugar Sean O'Malley who won. They're both healthy. They can run it back December, T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, no taxes, my favorite place to fight. It just makes sense that that's probably going to be the fight that can happen because the UFC can build a storyline behind that fight that they don't really have to do a lot of hard work to sell it. That makes sense. And then you have my good friend Henry Cejudo. Now, Henry Cejudo just came off a loss against Aljamain Sterling, so he's kind of in the wings, waiting, kind of lurking to see what's going to happen. But if I was a betting man, I bet you they go with Chito Vera versus Sugar Sean O'Malley, December, Las Vegas, probably the co-main event or the main event. I don't see any other fight being made. I know Aljamain Sterling said he wanted to do a rematch, an immediate rematch, but I think the best thing for Sterling, well, I'm not his father, I'm not his wife or his mother, but I think for me, being in the same situation when I got knocked out, I wanted to take another fight. I fought Rodtang, then I came back and fought Adrian Moraes. I always think it's good for an athlete to take a different fight to shake off the cobwebs of getting knocked out. Right? Like, he didn't get knocked out cold, but he got dropped, and eventually it led to a TKO. So, that is my assumption. I think to wrap this all up, I think they do Sugar versus Chito Vera, and then if Sugar beats Chito, then I can see him either fighting Merab, which Merab's been on a tear as well, and then I don't know what they're going to do. You know, do you have Cody Sandhagen? But his last fight wasn't very spectacular. So maybe you could see Henry Cejudo fighting Cody Sandhagen. But I know my boy Henry only fights for gold. So we'll see. But I think what happened last night with that fight, I think it kind of opens the landscape of the bantamweight division again. Like, am I missing anything, Michael? I feel like I hit on everything when it comes to that whole scenario, that whole division, the whole shake of what's going on right now with that.
Yeah, I have a couple things, DJ. First of all, it's Corey Sandhagen. You're saying Cody, right?
Ah, shit, my bad. Corey Sandhagen, my bad. Corey Sandhagen. Usually I just call him the Sandman. So, you know, now when you have to start doing all this stuff and enunciating everybody's name, it's like Corey Sandhagen. It's Corey Sandhagen, not Cody. My bad, Mr. Sandman. Yes, my bad. Thank you, Michael. That's why you're the producer. Yeah.
That's number one. Then number two, I don't know if you saw this, but I found it interesting. So O'Malley and his team put out video of him practicing that overhand right as if that was something that he saw in film, something that he was practicing, and it was pretty convincing seeing in the locker room practicing it. And going behind the scenes a little bit, I once went and I filmed you before your latest fight against Moraes, and there was some moves. I will say not what the move was, but there was some moves that you specifically trained thinking like, hey, I could potentially use this move. So is that something that you think is legitimate? Like, hey, that was something that O'Malley was practicing and not just like, oh, this looks cool, so that's why his team posted it?
Oh, yeah, 1,000%. I mean, you look at, I mean, the thing he did, ladies and gentlemen, wasn't anything special. I mean, so the thing he did wasn't special, but the way he set it up was spectacular. As a professional athlete, a mixed martial artist, it's a basic. You're waiting for your opponent to overextend. It really works against people who are shorter, and it works best against people who are longer, and you're fighting someone who's shorter, or if they don't have very good rhythm or stand up, they don't really understand how to cross distance. So when you're sitting there, you're waiting, and you take a step back, when they throw a jab or a cross and it drops. Now, if Aljo would have threw across his punch like this, clean, it came back, he would have been fine. But that's what he didn't do. He lunged forward, his hands were down, Sean O'Malley saw it and threw their right hand. So it's basically a right hand counter. You just back up and boom, you drop the weight and you land that right hand. Same thing with Conor McGregor did to Jose Aldo, because it's very common you see strikers do that same punch. I bet you even Israel Adesanya practice that punch because they're counter strikers, right? Because they don't expose themselves. They force you to expose yourself. That makes sense. They want you to overextend. Anderson Silva does the exact same thing. So that's why if you go back and watch each of those guys, you go back and watch Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero. Yoel did a good job of not overextending, right? Izzy did everything he could to force him to overextend, but you're always doing this shit right here, and nothing really happened. If you go back and watch, just go back and watch fights where you see people who are counter strikers, and when they are trying to force somebody to open up, to expose a hand, to overextend, usually that right hand lands every single time. Whether they get dropped, it all depends, but it usually lands. Even I landed the right hand before against Ian McCall back in 2012 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I think it was UFC on Fox, UFC on FX2, I believe. Go back and watch it. I was backing up. He was running towards me like this. I went, pop! Dropped him. Didn't put him to sleep, but I dropped him. So it's a counterattack right hand. But yeah, he was able to land it because, and he's drilling it. You drill it, it's called muscle memory. You drill it, you drill it, you drill it. That way when you get in a fight, it's going to, when your eyes and your mind and your body are all connected at once, you see it, it's no hesitation. You don't hesitate. When you hesitate.
So then did you practice that flying knee then at all before you did it?
Yeah. I mean, I practiced it before in my training of when somebody's going into a cage or a ring, you follow them, you stalk them, and then you try to create that reverb, right? Because you know he's going into a wall. When you hit a wall, they bounce back, especially the cage. So once he hit that cage, I was jumping into him because he was going to come right back into my knee. It's split second. So what Sugar did last night with landing that right hand, it was split second. A split second. He dropped his body. He overextended, bam, landed that right hand, and was able to follow up with the ground and pound. So when you see athletes do it, they're practicing. Even Alexis Grasso getting Valentina Shevchenko's back when she threw the spinning back kick. So they watch Shevchenko. She always throws spinning shit. That's a new thing on the block. Is throw spinning shit. She throws spinning stuff. I'm not a fan of throwing spinning stuff. The reason why is because you lose track of your opponent for 1 to 2 seconds. That's all it takes for someone to get on your back and choke you out, right? So you saw her practice that. That way, when she saw it, her mind, her eyes, her mind, her body recognize that pattern, that movement. And when they see it, they're able to react to it. The muscle memory. That's what it's called, muscle memory. So, but hey, it's a beautiful story. When you look back at Sugar Sean O'Malley, his whole journey, him shaving his eyebrows with, $20 or $100 in his hand. And here he is now, world champion, the braids, smoking a doobie, gold around his waist. I'm so happy for him. And I'm happy for Aljo, I mean, I know this might sound weird, but I'm happy that he's not letting this loss beat him up, right? Because as an athlete, as a competitor, there's got to be a winner and there's got to be a loser. And I think it does nothing for you or your self-esteem or your mental capacity to sit there and soak and be upset at yourself. You can be upset with yourself, right? But there's no reason to beat yourself down and just like, hey, I got dropped. I'll learn from this. I'll come back better. Congrats to Sugar Sean O'Malley. And, you know, the Funkmaster show ain't over. Like, I'm going to get back home, work on some stuff. And he's got his liquor came out. He's came with that Funkmaster rum. Congrats to that. I'll love to try some. Aljo, send me and my producer some of that Funkmaster juice and we'll try it. And I wish nothing but the best for him, but I'm excited to see what he does next. He's only 34 years old, so he is getting to that prime age when he needs to start thinking about what he wants to do next. So we'll see. But I think it was a great fight, and I can't wait to see what the new world champion does next. Now, on to the next fight. Yeah, my throat's parched. Give me a second. On to the next fight. We had the co-main event, Weili versus Amanda. Not a whole lot went on this fight. I think the biggest thing you take about this fight is how Weili's just so damn athletic. I mean, everything she did was just perfect. Her trips, her wrestling, her distance control, her being light on her feet, back and forth. Each time, the thing that I loved about that fight, each time she took her down, she focused on pass and guard. Ankles, knees, hips. She stacked her a couple times, threw a couple punches, but each time she took it down, she was focused on pass and guard, which a lot of athletes don't really do that nowadays in mixed martial arts. Now, Amanda, holy shit, the resilience she had going against Weili was amazing. And I think her biggest downfall is that she was just looking for that one big shot. She was sitting back, you know, looking for that one big shot. And I felt maybe the end of the third and the fourth round, that's when she started to get her timing down. She started to settle down and she was doing pretty good. I probably gave her maybe, it was either the third or fourth round. I'm not sure. I have to go back and watch it. But she was so looking for that big right hand or left hand. And she was looking for that Ezekiel choke on the bottom, which she almost had it a couple times. She almost had it. But I think Weili's just too damn tough. She's too damn fast. She's way too athletic. And she is one athlete that keeps on improving. Like, I felt like when she first jumped on the scene in the UFC, it was all about her stand-up being so crisp, fast, and explosive. Now, she's got a good wrestling background. She's done some training with Henry Cejudo down in Arizona at Fight Ready. Now, I feel like she's putting everything together. And she's also another athlete that is older. Yeah, I think Weili's just so damn athletic, so damn fast. When she came on the scene in the UFC, it was about her striking ability, how athletic she was. And then now she's got like legit wrestling. Like, each time they clinch, she dropped down for a double leg. She had a beautiful knee tap, and she was always so focused on pass and guard. And Michael, you actually worked with her, like filming her when she trained with the Henry Cejudo, right?
Yeah. So it was right when I moved to Phoenix, and I gotta say she's been one of the most impressive people I've ever seen train. Like, just, she's literally a robot. And what's funny too is she's the nicest person. Like, when you talk to her, like, just so gentle, so cool. But my biggest thing with her, I don't know if you know like a little bit of other examples of this, but Rose Namajunas is somehow her kryptonite, because against everyone else, she has absolutely killed them. Like, she's looked like the best female fighter. Like, she's looked like the best female fighter that there is. You know, one of the best in history if you really think about what she's done, other than Rose. And I don't know what it is, because that when I saw her train, she was preparing for that second Rose fight, and we didn't see that monster that we've seen from her the last couple fights, and the grappling and all of that. I don't know what it is and why Rose just presents some issues for her, but seeing her against everyone else is like, Jesus. I mean, there's her and Amanda Nunes in the last 5 years. Those are the most dominant female fighters in MMA.
Well, didn't they have, so her and Rose fought twice, right?
Yeah. So the first time
she got knocked out, she got knocked out the high kick. Yep. And then the second one was
and then the second time was super weird. Like she got taken. This is after training with Henry Cejudo, the Olympic gold medalist. She gets taken down in the 5th round by Rose Namajunas. Like I don't know. When you look at how Zhang Weili looked last night versus how she looked against Rose Namajunas in the grappling department, like, I don't get what the change was, but something must have clicked in her that didn't click the first time training with Henry, because, man, that wrestling was, and like you said, the top control. Yeah. It wasn't just a lay and pray. She was on top and beating the shit out of Amanda Lemos. So that was just, I hadn't seen a ground and pound fight like that, male or female, for a long time.
Yeah, she was passing guard. She would get to dominance, she'll get to side control, and then she'll start looking to potentially do a submission game. And each time Lemos got that choke around her neck, she did a good job posting on her, putting her frames on Lemos's chin, and then grappling, right? Like, it was a good grappling exchange. And when you said her being one of the best female fighters on the roster, I'm thinking, man, could you imagine a fight between her and Shevchenko, like Valentina Shevchenko? Like, that fight would be straight fire. Straight fire. Granted, Shevchenko's not the champion anymore, but if Shevchenko and Grasso, whoever the winner is, that, I think she destroys Grasso. But I would love to see Shevchenko versus Weili. That would be a straight fire fight. Straight banger. Banger.
I think those are two of the most skilled fighters, period, male or female. I mean, they're just training like absolute maniacs. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely dope. So, but yeah, that fight was good. I mean, congrats to Weili, Shang Weili, because, I mean, she's another athlete who's getting older. I think she's in her mid-30s too. I think we talked about that earlier today, is that eventually she's going to have mother times if she wants to have children, right? Some athletes don't want to, some do. So for a female, they have to take time off. You know, pregnancy takes about 9 months, and then you got to recover from the pregnancy. So let's see. But I'm excited to see who she's going to fight next. I really don't know who there is for her to fight in that division, but, you know, they're always find somebody. That's what they do best. Now, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead, Michael. Sorry, I didn't mean. What's up, baby?
No, I was gonna say I want to give a quick PSA to our listeners. So Demetrious, he doesn't, you know, he hasn't fought. When's the last time you fought for UFC?
2018.
2018. So please forgive him for some of these pronunciations. The Cody Sandhagen, the Zhang Weili. It is Zhang Weili, and I believe you said Alexis Grasso. It's Alexa Grasso. So if I don't have the time to correct Demetrious for every single one of these mistakes, just get used to it and know that I realize he's making that mistake, but I'm too busy to edit it or like interrupt him or something.
Hey, baby, I'm doing the best I can. All right, I'm not a goddamn announcer. I'm an athlete. Turn into one. I've always wanted to do, a podcast. I've always wanted to do it. I've tried to do Nerds of Leisure. We tried to do the GoCast, and now I'm like, you know what? I was just waiting for the right producer to come along. So you're gonna make me sound good. You're gonna fix everything. And everybody out there, I apologize for murdering your name. If you want, you can throw cabbage at me next time you see me, or tomatoes like they did back in the old days. So, but moving on. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you. Moving on. We're not just gonna talk about UFC. One Championship just announced some big bangers. Now, if you guys don't know, I am the One Championship flyweight champion of the world. That was the World Grand Prix right there. And this one is the Gold Championship belt. But Chatri's been putting together some bangers. Some of the bangers you guys can check out on Amazon Prime, which is free, because I know all you guys out there have Amazon Prime, or your mom does, or your girlfriend does, or I'm sure your grandma does. But anywho, somebody in your family has got Amazon Prime. Some of the bangers that are coming up, you got Raw Tang. You guys don't know who Raw Tang is. Do yourself a favor. Go look up Raw Tang on YouTube. You won't be disappointed. You got Raw Tang versus Super Lake. Two of the top Muay Thai fighters in the world coming out of Thailand are fighting. Finally. Do yourself a favor. Mark on your calendar. It's going to be absolutely insane. Then another banger that's just been announced is John Haggerty versus Fabricio Andrade. Shee! Now that is a straight fucking banger. You have Fabricio Andrade, who beat John Lineker twice, right? The first time he blew his cup out, John Lineker was wearing a plastic cup. And the second time he finished John Lineker. I think John Lineker didn't answer the bell. And then you have John the General Haggerty. This guy is absolutely amazing. His stand-up is straight fire. He's fought Rodtang 2 times. He's come up short, but I feel like anybody else in that division, if there was no Rodtang, he would be the champion at that division, right? But so what he did do is that he went up a weight class because he has a hard time making 135, which in One Championship is their flyweight division. So he went up to featherweight, which is 145, and he did knock out the Terror Nongo in, I believe, the first round, which he was a champion. So you have the featherweight champion, John Haggerty, fighting the featherweight champion in mixed martial arts in Fabricio Andrade. They're coming together and they are doing a super fight for a world title kickboxing featherweight match. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is free to begin with. You ain't got to pay $65, $95 or any of that shit right now. Probably never, because Amazon Prime is giving you guys bangers for free. Check that fight out. I'll give you guys a date when it comes out, when I get closer, when I know what's going to happen. But those are 2 of the bangers that I am excited to watch. And then you also have Shinya Aoki grappling against the legend Mikey Musumeci. Another amazing fight. Mikey Musumeci's going up to grapple Shinya Aoki. Ain't nobody beating Mikey. I don't see anybody beating Mikey Musumeci anytime soon. But it'll be interesting because I feel Shinya Aoki's background is more catered to mixed martial arts. And you're seeing Mikey beat a lot of these MMA guys up lately. He just submitted Jared Brooks. He just beat a gentleman in, I have no idea where that was at. That was in Thailand. He destroyed Homeboy's knee. He had him in the Mikey lock. He destroyed his PCL, ACL, LCL, MCL. His whole knee's gone. We'll probably never see that guy ever again, or maybe 9 months. Then he just beat a gentleman in Colorado. That guy was a grappler, but now he's going against a legend, Shinya Aoki. So those are some bangers that are coming out for One Championship. And we also going to do some live reaction to the One Championship fights. And every Friday night, there are free fights in Thailand on the One Championship app. Take a look. Okay. Michael, you got to do some research on those boys. I know you don't follow one much, but I'm telling you right now, man, you're gonna love it once you find out and fall in love with Rodtang, Super Lake, and Haggerty, and Fabricio Andrade, and everybody else on the roster.
No. I mean, I know everyone that you did mention, and I think it's about building up some of that other star power. But everyone you mentioned, I'm fully aware of, and I think that's one thing. And me not just shilling for One Championship. I think it's just so cool that you're able to turn it on and like, oh, here's a jiu-jitsu match, like here's Muay Thai, or how about you fighting Rodtang? It's a mix of Muay Thai and MMA. Like I think that's the number one thing is like if you're trying to compete with UFC, it's like no one's gonna be able to do that, but this is something completely different. And Amazon Prime, like fuck, it couldn't be easier than that. Who doesn't have Amazon Prime? Get that 2-day free shipping anyway, and then you could turn on One Championship. You couldn't ask for anything better than that.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing. I always tell people, like, you don't always have to try to compete with somebody. You can coexist. You know, you have Microsoft and you have Apple, right? They have the iOS and you have Windows 95 or whatever the fuck they're on right now. You don't have to try to always compete, but you guys can coexist. And with One Championship, it offers that. Like you said, you have the grappling matches to cater to the grappling community. You have the Muay Thai fights, which caters to the Muay Thai community, and then so forth. MMA, boxing, kickboxing, it caters to each community. Then every once in a blue moon, you have those crossover fights where, like you said, I fought Rodtang, where Muay Thai and the mixed martial arts. And honestly, I think that was probably my biggest fight of my whole entire career, just because now when I go to Thailand, they're like, oh, you beat Rodtang, you put him to sleep, you got good Muay Thai. I like. You're going to get that in One Championship, where in the UFC, you're just going to get the same thing. And you're not going to get any disrespect. Like what Ian did last night to Neil Magny and just flick him off. It's like nothing blows my mind. I'm 37 years old. I have a wife, 3 children. And it's like, when I see grown men argue, I don't know. I don't want to go on a tangent about it. But anyways, you're going to see a lot more respect over there in one championship. Not that you don't see respect in the UFC, but I just think you see a lot more assholes acting it out in the UFC. So to wrap that up, make sure you guys check out One Championship. They got some bangers coming out. There's some more bangers that are coming out, but those are the 3 that are coming off the top of my head. The Rodtang fight, the Haggerty fight. That, if I had to pick out of those 3 ones that you guys cannot miss, it would probably be the John Haggerty versus Fabricio Andrade. That is going to be straight. We're going to do a live reaction on that one because someone's getting knocked the fuck out. Okay, Michael?
Oh yeah, we'll definitely do that. Fabricio Andrade, he's definitely one of my favorite in One Championship too.
Yeah.
I actually watched his last fight with Henry. If you're finishing Lineker, that's high praise right there.
Yeah. So other news, we're not just talking about mixed martial arts and this MIGHTYcast. We talk about everything that's going on in the world when it comes to combat sports. Another big thing that's going on is Dillon Danis, one of mixed martial arts community favorite. He hasn't fought in a very long time because he's had knee injuries. He's going up against Logan Paul, which is my children are a big fan of Logan Paul because he has that drink prime, and he's also an amazing WWE superstar. Have you seen him wrestle before, Michael? WWE?
Yeah, and this is something probably another PSA for our fans. I'm a huge pro wrestling fan, very big into WWE. Once I have my setup, I'll likely have some wrestling stuff in the background, all of that stuff.
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite right now?
So I have what?
Who's your favorite right now?
Yeah, so I'd say my favorite wrestler of all time is definitely Rey Mysterio. He's someone I've had the pleasure of working with a ton, and I can actually call him a friend. And funny enough, I got to catch up with him at what was the pay-per-view that just happened?
SummerSlam. SummerSlam.
No, I'm saying UFC. Volkanovski just won.
Oh, that's where he beat Yair Rodriguez. I forget what that one was.
Yeah. I went there with Kelvin Gastelum, and I heard that Rey Mysterio was in the building, and I was telling Kelvin, I'm like, oh yeah, Rey's kind of an old buddy of mine, and Kelvin's like, what are you talking about? Like, no, he's not. And I'm like, no. I'm like, so then we go up to this UFC security guy that we know, and I'm like, hey, could you find Rey for us? Because I just want Kelvin to meet him, and Kelvin being a Mexican American, he really wanted to meet him, and then we just meet Rey, and the first thing he says, he's like, do you actually know this guy? And he's like, oh yeah, it's Michael. So it was cool catching up with Rey, but no, I'd say Rey Mysterio. But going back on that topic though, of what you asked about Logan Paul, he's just. In the history of pro wrestling, there are few guys that picked it up as fast as that dude. I hate Logan Paul, the persona, and I don't get the prime stuff. I had it once. I don't think anything crazy of it, but that dude is an absolute freak that was meant to be a pro wrestler. I don't know what it is, but I got to give him his due there.
Yeah, dude. When I saw his first costume, I said, this was a gangster-ass Sabretooth from X-Men, the 90s version. He had the Charizard. He had the Charizard mint, PSA, whatever the hell it is, mint condition chain. And he had that dope-ass yellow and black leather, cut-off jacket along with the pants. I was like, dude, that is dope. And I think he's fit for him, and he's very entertaining. The kids love to watch him. I enjoy watching him. I just watched him do his last match against Ricochet, whoever it is. Super acrobatic. I think it was SummerSlam. Absolutely amazing wrestling match to watch. But I guess he has a fight with Dillon Danis. Now, fans, please leave a comment. Do you actually think this fight's going to happen? Do you think it's going to happen? For me, I would like it to happen because we haven't seen Dillon Danis. For an athlete who is so active on Twitter in the mixed martial community, who has never won a world title in mixed martial arts, he's pretty damn popular. I think Gordon Ryan said it the best. He said, Dillon Danis is so popular and he does absolutely nothing. He's done nothing from what Gordon Ryan has said. He's not won anything in the jiu-jitsu tournaments at a black belt level. He's never won a world title in mixed martial arts. But for some reason, people love the drama he brings. Don't get me wrong, he's absolutely funny. I mean, I think I follow him on Twitter. I'm not sure, but it's just so mind blowing to me that how much buzz he can create by going into a fight where he hasn't fought in the last 6 or 7 years. I'm just flabbergasted that everybody's super. I don't know if people are hyped for the fight or what exactly, or they just like the drama between Logan and Dillon Danis. And I don't know the exact words, or not words, the whole premise. I think it's something that Dillon saying that his current fiance is doing shit. I don't know. Michael, do you know more about it? I don't.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I once again, Dillon Danis, someone I've never understood, never cared about anything he did, and this dude has single-handedly won me over in a week of Twitter. I cannot get enough of his Twitter. I cannot believe how well he's trolling. I mean, I will say this, he's getting help. I mean, no one is this good at investigative finding all these pictures, and someone's helping him out behind the scenes, and that guy deserves a raise, because like, you almost don't need to do the fight anymore. He's already won. What's there gonna, even if Logan Paul knocks him out, like, I think Dillon Danis has won this fight before they've even got inside the squared circle.
I fucking love that you said whoever's helping him out, he probably hired an agency or like a criminal investigation to look up all Logan Paul's dirty laundry. Because you are right. I mean, this man has the gift of gab on, he's got them Twitter fingers, as Drake calls them, Twitter fingers. They're just going at it now. And now he's got Andrew Tate involved with it too. And I'm just like, oh my God. So we'll see if that fight happens. I mean, if it does, and then you also have KSI versus Tommy Fury on that fight card as well, which is another one. I'm not hearing a lot of chit chat going back and forth from those guys, but I feel like the boxing world is so big right now, where the stars like Canelo Alvarez, he's about to fight Carmelo, right? Is that his name?
You're saying who he's fighting? Yeah, I'm so bad with boxing.
Yeah, because you're all about Dillon Danis and fucking Logan Paul. That's why.
That's the celebrity boxing. I'm an expert when it comes to. Jermell Charlo. That's the name.
Yeah,
Charlo.
Say it again.
Jermell Charlo.
Jermell. Okay, yeah. So you got Canelo versus Jermell.
No,
you got Canelo.
Jermell Charlo. Let's give another PSA to our fans out there. If you come here for real boxing analysis, go somewhere else, because we are never going to be able to break down any of this good boxing.
Whoa. This is legit boxing analysis. I know how to box. I know how to box. So that's what I'm trying to get at, right? Is that when you look at the stars, like, I could probably name 10 athletes in each division in mixed martial arts, obviously because we're based in mixed martial arts. That's my background. But when you look at boxing, there hasn't been really big stars coming out of there. Granted, there probably is. You got Gervonta Davis, you got Damian Haney, you got Crawford, you also have Canelo Alvarez, and then you have Tyson Fury, you have Jake Paul now, you have Logan Paul. What I'm getting at is that you have these guys like Logan Paul and Dillon Danis and KSI and Tommy Fury that are just bringing so much more noise to boxing that you don't even know that Canelo Alvarez is about to fight. Right? I mean, we don't even know who's his opponent is very good. I've seen him fight before, but his name just escapes my tongue, or I just can't pronounce it. Either one. But it's just crazy how you're seeing these guys who are coming from YouTube or WWE and making a bigger splash than some of the guys who are 40-0 in boxing. It's just we live in crazy times. We just live in crazy times when it comes to, combat sports in general, whether it's mixed martial arts, boxing, street beefs, slap power boxing, whatever you want to call it. It's just interesting time right now. And next up on the list is questions. So we want you guys to get involved. With you guys getting involved, it makes the show a lot better, because it makes you guys feel that you guys aren't just tuning in to watch me talk or Michael talk about the landscape of the fight world. We want you guys to leave a comment, leave a comment on this, video, and also join our Discord and leave a comment. Michael, what do we got, Playboy?
Yeah, so first question, this is Rylan. It's spelled Rylinn. And this is his question. And this is his question for you. Do you think Aljamain respected O'Malley too much by taking the fight slowly instead of crossing distance and pressuring takedowns immediately?
Oh, that's hard. Sometimes I think it's always good to have a healthy respect for your opponent, right? I always think it's good to have a healthy respect, but sometimes, I just think Aljo just needed to find a better way to cross distance, especially with an elite striker like Sugar Sean O'Malley. So I think it had nothing to do with the respect. I think whether he disrespected him or didn't have too much respect, I think either way, would have happened regardless, because that's a technical issue that happened, right? It's a technical of him trying to punch across the distance. If he was, like I said earlier, if he walked across the distance, kept his hands up high, elevation change, feints, leg kick, low kick, throw your teep kick. Because the reason why a lot of people are so scared to throw leg kicks is, one, they're going to get checked or it's going to break, or three, they're going to get taken down from it. And we know, I think Sugar has wrestled in the UFC, but I've never seen him blast a double leg. So I think Funkmaster could use that to his advantage of using his kicks to chop down the tree to stop the lateral movement, right? You start kicking somebody's leg, that's going to stop the lateral movement, and that can help you even make it easier for you to get across the distance. So good question, Big Daddy Rye. Good question. Appreciate that. Next one, Michael. Next one.
This is Aaron, and his question, will MMA fighters ever get pay in proportions that are similar to other sports, i.e. MLB, NBA, and NFL players get about 50% of their sports revenues as their own pay? MMA is less than 20%.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not in my lifetime. I think in mixed martial arts, as athletes, we are all so accustomed to being envious of what the other athlete has, right? If this athlete gets his sponsorship or if this athlete gets his big contract, et cetera, we aren't bred to come together and work as a unit, as one. All those, major leagues that gentleman just named are unionized. They have a collective bargain who goes out there and basically gets their fair share, right? If we take this even further, if you look what's going on in Hollywood right now, there is no movies being made, there is no movies being written right now, and there's no actors acting right now. So you have pretty much 3 strikes going on. All the actors are in a union. It's called SAG, which looks after all the people who are actors. Then you have the writer's block, where all the writers we're not making enough money, so we're all gonna, not write anymore. So you have 2 groups that have literally shut down Hollywood. Now, let's say every athlete on the roster of, UFC, One Championship, PFL, whatever it may be, Bellator. Let's say all the athletes are like, hey guys, we need to come together and never fight again. The company, the organization has nothing. They have to come to the table and obviously make an agreement with the athletes, because if everybody stopped fighting for the organization would not be able to meet the requirements of the sponsors, the TV deals, ESPN, Amazon Prime, DAZN, whatever it may be, right? But the problem with that is that you always find somebody else out there to fight for cheaper. So that's why I don't think in my lifetime MMA athletes will make 50% like what MLB, NBA, NFL, and those guys make. I don't think it will ever happen. If it does, I hope it does. I think every athlete should be able to get their fair share of the revenue when it comes to the competition, because like Dwight Howard told me at a UFC event, he goes, Demetrious, you hear this noise? That noise ain't here for Dana. That noise ain't here for him. That noise is here for you guys, the athletes. You guys need to come together and you guys need to start a union. That's what you guys need to do. We did it in the basketball. Now we all eating good. So I would never forget those words from Dwight Howard when he says the athletes should have more say so what goes on in the money, the revenue share than the organization. But I don't ever think it's going to happen. That's a little extra cookie for you guys when we have my conversation with Dwight Howard. Hit me, Michael. Hit me.
One follow up on that. Do we have a photo of you and Dwight, please? Because I have to see that size difference.
Oh God, I don't think so, man. That was a long ass time ago too. He was an amazing person to talk to about that whole situation.
Yeah, but on to the next question. So this is from I don't know if I should say if it's either Keek or Kiki because it's like Kee and then it's reversed EEK. But either way, shout out to Keek or Kiki, whoever this is. Their question. If Henry considers himself, and obviously talking about Henry Cejudo, if Henry Cejudo considers himself the GOAT for beating you, and then he lost to Aljo, and now Aljo lost to Sean, does Henry acknowledge Sean as the heir to the GOAT throne?
The good old mixed martial arts math. I remember I saw one a long time ago where John Dodson did this and this did this and this and this, and it just led to me being something. You know what? That's a good question for Henry Cejudo. But, I think what O'Malley has been able to do in his career in mixed martial arts has been spectacular, right? Coming to the Dana White Contender Series, only one loss to Chito Vera, TKO stoppage, knocking out Aljamain Sterling. Like right now, everybody is like, who is the bantamweight GOAT in the UFC? Right? You look at the list of the bantamweights from the beginning of time. I think the very first bantamweight champion was Dominic Cruz, right? And then it went, Renan Barão became champion, right? Yeah, Renan Barão was the champion. And then it went, after Renan Barão, I believe it was TJ Dillashaw. Then it went Cody No Love. After Cody, it went back to TJ again. And then TJ lost to... Who did TJ lose to? He lost to... help me out here, Michael. TJ beat Cody twice. And then TJ fought somebody. And then who did he lose to? Oh, that's right. I got it. That's right. So it went like that. So Renan Barão lost to TJ. TJ lost to... No, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, Dominic. He lost to Dominic Cruz. Then he didn't lose again, actually, until Henry.
No. Because TJ... Yeah, then TJ dropped down to 125. He lost to Henry. And then he popped for steroids. He popped for blood work. And so then Henry and Marlon Moraes fought for the vacant. Henry won it. Henry beat Dominic Cruz. Then Henry retired it. And then the winner... Then who snatched it up after that? It was Peter Yan and who else?
Aljo. After Peter Yan.
Was it Peter Yan?
Yeah, because Aljo got the title initially from that whole illegal knee.
Yeah, the DQ, and then he beat Peter Yan again, and then after Peter Yan, then he fought TJ Dillashaw, beat TJ Easy, then he beat what's his name? Henry Cejudo, and then he just lost it to.
supposed to do a goat cast. Supposed to do a goat cast with Henry Cejudo now we're just like, what's his name?
Well, you got to think about this. I'm doing this all from my memory. I'm jogging my memory all the way back to 2011, 2012, when WEC got absorbed by the UFC. That's when, if you guys out there, I know you guys are, newcomers to the sport of mixed martial arts. Back in the day, there was a WEC. WEC had all the weight classes, but the main focus of WEC was a lighter weight division, which was where I came from. It was 135, 145, 155. You had Mike Brown, you had Donald Cerrone, you had Jamie Bonner, you had me, you had Renan Barão, you had Jose Aldo, you had a lot of the, baddest motherfuckers in the world in that umbrella. Dominic Cruz, Joseph Benavidez, Uriah Faber, Chad Mendes, the list just goes on. Once the UFC absorbed us, all the champions, which was Dominic Cruz at the time, Jose Aldo, and I can't remember who 155 was. I feel like it was like Jamie Barner or Donald Cerrone. I can't remember who the 155-pound champion was. But when we got absorbed over to UFC, immediately Dominic Cruz became the champion. Then Jose Aldo became the champion. And so you look at the very infancy stage of the bantamweight division, it hasn't really gotten away from that very first person who was running that flag, which was Dominic Cruz. Like, he just fought for that belt. You know, his last fight for that belt was against Henry Cejudo. He came up short. So if you look at the long list of all the champions in the bantamweight division, it's still in the infancy stage where Aljo only defended the belt, twice? And then now he just lost it to Sugar Sean O'Malley. Now let's see Sugar do maybe 5 or 6 or 7 to leave a nice legacy. You know what I mean? Henry got the belt, defended it, vacated it. You know, you had TJ Dillashaw, he had it. He defended it against Renan Barão. He defended it against, who else he beat? I think he had 2 or 3 title defenses, but usually I don't think anybody's got out of maybe 4 or 5 in the bantamweight division. So I don't know. It's a very weird window when you think about it. Like, there hasn't been a champion to be in that driver's seat for more than maybe 5 or 6 years, I feel like, or maybe even 3 years. I mean, my memory could be off, but I'm just, I literally just named every single champion in the bantamweight division in the UFC. Yeah, I think I did. Fucking right. All right. Any more questions, Michael?
Yeah, I'm not going to let you get off the air and sign off before I have to ask this question that I think are on a lot of people's minds. So our boy Ariel Helwani, you were on the MMA Hour, and you entertained a little bit when he asked you about how you would fare against Aljamain Sterling. Now, Aljamain Sterling lost. We'll push that dream matchup to the side a little bit. But how about this? You versus Sean O'Malley. This is a fight that's obviously not going to happen right now, whatever. This is completely out of left field, but given that debate that we just had with you and Aljo, let's add a nice little thing that people are going to grab, make some headlines. Maybe Ariel himself will go tweet about it. What do you think, you versus O'Malley? What do you think?
Dude, me versus O'Malley, that would be a hard-ass fight. A very, very hard fight. There's a guy in our gym who, his name is Bilal. His nickname is Spider Karate Kid. He moves just like Sugar Sean O'Malley. He's long, skinny, rangy, moves, that karate background, spinning back kicks, tries to land that right hand. And I have a hard time with him in the gym. Just because I'm trying to cross distance the whole entire time. I'm always trying to cross distance. But when I finally do cross that distance, I have my clutch game, I have my jiu-jitsu, I have my wrestling, is where I actually think I might be able to excel against Sugar Sean O'Malley. But I have to be a realist. I have to live in reality, trying to get to him where he's much longer. He might even be faster than me now that I'm old as shit compared to some people out there being 37 years old. He's longer, he's faster, he's a way cleaner striker than I am. It would be so hard just to get to him. There is no yellow card in UFC, so he can use his bike and be lateral movement every single time. He's got a great jab, he's got a great right hand. I have to try to chop his tree down, leg kick him. As I'm trying to leg kick him, I got to make sure he doesn't get a good check off so I don't hurt my leg. That would be a way tougher fight than fighting Aljamain Sterling, right? Like, when I see Aljo, I'm like, I like that fight because he likes to come forward. He likes to cross distance. He loves to cross distance. Maybe he doesn't do it very good. Well, excuse me, he does do it good, but he exposes his chin like we saw the other night. But that fight against Sugar Sean O'Malley, like, I'm a realist, that would be extreme, a very, very extreme fight. Like, it's not like a lot of people like, oh man, you work both of them. I was like, guys, like, come on, like, let's live in Earth, let's live in reality. There's a lot of obstacles to overcome fighting a guy like Sugar Sean O'Malley. It's not like an easy just, I would work him. Like, I think there are some parts in the fight I could, in areas I could work him, but the fight starts on the feet and I have to get my hands on him first. And that would be the hardest thing to do.
So Bradley Martin or O'Malley, what's the tougher matchup?
Fucking Sean O'Malley. Bradley Martin, he doesn't even train. He's just a big dude. You look at the facts. I'm just stating facts here. Bradley Martin is 260, steroid. I'm assuming he's on steroids. I asked him, I was at the gym the other day. I was like, hey, you can see Bradley Martin's on steroids? I go, fuck yeah, he is. And one of the guys at the gym, he's followed Bradley Martin since the very beginning of his career. I was like, so Bradley Martin, he's going to be extremely strong. That's about it. Other than that, he has no skills whatsoever when it comes to fighting. Like, I've been spending the last 20 years of my life fighting. He's spent the last 20 years of his life is lifting weights. So, but Sugar Sean might be a way tougher fight because he actually knows how to fight. Even though he's lighter, he's trained, right? He's trained the last, 15, 20 or 30, 20 years of his life training. So, yeah, I think Sugar Sean O'Malley will be way fucking tougher than Bradley Martin. Like, Bradley Martin is a good dude. Means well, no animosity whatsoever, but he doesn't train, right? He's been training the last 30 or 20 years in his life lifting weights, where Sugar's been doing the opposite. He's been, becoming a killer, an elite striker. So it's a no-brainer. It's the tough fight would be Sugar Sean O'Malley. So, but ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to the very first episode of the MIGHTYcast. Now, our goal is to do this every single week, depending on our schedules line up between me and the producer, Michael. And hopefully down in the future, we'll be able to get some guests on here. I'd love to get Izzy on here, Earl Hawani, some of the guys I just want to talk to, right? I'm a big fan of a lot of these athletes out there and give them the opportunity to be able to share their story and their thoughts or whatever. Like for me, I would love to have Sugar. Like, Sugar, you so sweet. How did you make that? How'd you learn that right hand? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if you are new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. I go through the comments and I look at all of them and I like to respond to them. Join our Discord. It is free to the public, believe it or not. If it's free, it's for you and me. And, Michael, anything you want to say to these beautiful people before we let them go?
No, I'd like to say thanks for listening or watching on YouTube. And no, this is something that Demetrious and I are very excited about. And we've been wanting to do something like this for a while. And finally, our schedules can align. So please just on Discord, whether it's Discord or YouTube or Twitter or Instagram, tell us what you think. Ask questions and we'll try to answer them every week. And we're always trying to improve. So no, thank you for listening and thank you for watching.
Yep. Oh, and tell your mom about the show too. I think she's gonna love it. And Michael, he's single too, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies out there, he's single, so maybe we get him a date soon. All right, boys, we out.